So, Hare Krishna, welcome for this Bhagavad-gītā session. So, we'll be discussing verse from 5.10, 11 and 12. Very, very important verses. So, this chapter is entitled Karma Yoga, Action in Kṛṣṇa Consciousness. See the connection between chapter 4 and 5. But before that, see, second chapter gives the preliminary knowledge of soul, right? And its entanglement in the material body. And Krishna also says about the Buddhi Yoga. And Buddhi Yoga is the process to get out of this entanglement. The third chapter explains that a person on the platform of knowledge, no longer has any duties to perform. In the fourth chapter, wherein we saw, the Lord is telling Arjuna that all kind of sacrificial work culminates in knowledge. So this fifth chapter, it opens with Arjuna's question. It's similar to in the third chapter, first verse, wherein Arjuna asked, which is better, working devotion or renunciation of work? So Krishna will answer Arjuna's question and will explain the process of achieving liberation through Karma Yoga in greater depth than in chapter 3. So we're giving in this current chapter. So in the verse 1 to 6, Nishkama Karma Yoga, that is easier than renouncing work. See, Arjuna is again asking whether the renouncing work is superior to working with detachment. So Krishna is replying. He said both are equal in the sense that both are means to the same goal. However, he emphasizes working with detachment as easier and superior. Okay. Then we are seeing the 10th, 11th, 12th. So from 7th to 12th, we'll explain how to perform Nishkama Karma Yoga. Krishna says, one performing Nishkama Karma Yoga, he identifies neither with his body nor the activities that his body performs. So by his detached actions, he is freed from the reactions of his activities. So performing Nishkama Karma Yoga, that means the 10th verse we saw, right? That is acting without attachment and no desire for results. That means the devotee surrenders his results unto the Supreme Lord. In fact, the persons without Krishna consciousness, he acts according to material body and senses. Whereas person in Krishna consciousness, he is acting according to knowledge that the body is property of Krishna and then engages in service of Krishna. And in the 11th verse, we see that act with body, mind, intelligence and senses only for purification, only they act. So that means see action in Krishna consciousness, it causes automatic purification because everything is done for Krishna's senses. And that's the word sadachara. That is, it refers to purified activities. That is, which are easily done by acting in Krishna consciousness. So by doing so, what are the results? See, the 10th, 5.10, you don't incur sin by acting in Nishkama Karma Yoga. You don't incur sin. And gave the analogy is given that in the 10th chapter, right? 10th verse. Lotus leaf untouched by water. Never entangled because the work is not based on desire of mind and senses, but based on Krishna's desire. And in the 12th verse, we saw, he attains unadulterated peace because there is no anxiety for fruits. Just do your duty, that's it. So Krishna consciousness means attachment to Krishna. And bodily consciousness means attachment to results. See, in the 10th verse, we saw the word Brahmani. Brahmani means Krishna consciousness. That is, to see everything in relation to Krishna. So to what degree? See, even one's own body, and oneself belongs to Krishna. Body itself belongs to Krishna, Supreme Proprietor. So you should use all in his service. So in the last line of 5.11, the perfect stage of Krishna consciousness is given. That means it means to apply everything in the service of Krishna. All that is produced of body and in his possession should be used for Krishna's service. That is to be one with Krishna as part and parcel. And also, more important is devoid of false ego. False ego is bodily conception. And the 12th, we saw that to function in concept of duality without knowledge of absolute truth, that is the cause of anxiety. So in Krishna consciousness, there is no duality. All that exists is on Krishna's energy, and Krishna is all good and supreme absolute truth. So the secret of Krishna consciousness is that realization that there is no existence besides Krishna is a platform of peace and fearlessness. So, not to desire the fruits of activities. Animitta nimittena. So we saw in 5.10, Krishna instructs, Brahmani adhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti yaha lipyate nasa papena padma patram ivambasa. One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. So in this verse, Srila Prabhupada gives the word-to-word equivalent of adhaya as resigning. He's given the word-to-word adhaya as resigning. See, if we resign ourselves by giving up the attachment for the fruits of work, then our sins are completely washed off. See, the comparison given to that of the lotus flower. The speciality of the lotus flower is that even though it grows in the middle of the mud, everybody knows that, right? The flower is very beautiful. And there is not even a drop of mud on it. And when droplets of water fall on the lotus flower, the skin is so waterproof, no, that the water just skims the surface and falls back into the water. So if you ever want to remember how to live in this material world, we have to remember the lotus flower and this verse. If we really want to know how to live in this material world, we have to remember this lotus flower and this verse. 5.10. Do your work. And immediately after you finish the work, no, resign. Of course, you don't have to actually resign from your job, but resign in your heart. See, we have projects to finish and targets to achieve, correct? So the moment the target is achieved, at that point of time, we tender our resignation from that job. We tender it in our heart, saying, Krishna, I have done the job. Now the result is entirely up to you. So when we live that way, no, then we can perform our duties without attachment. Just like the same way, daily we have to initiate ourselves in the devotional process. Daily we have to resign from the work when the work is finished. Then we come to the stage of animitta nimittena, without desiring the fruits of activities. See, the fruits will always come, and they're engaged in Krishna's service. So this way, matter is not infecting us. Even though we are living amidst matter, no, we are not affected. We may be in the middle of great opulence also, but that opulence is like the police station, and we are just walking by the opulence. But because we are not performing criminal behavior by taking something, we are not behaving by taking something any criminal behavior. That does not belong to us. In that way, if we behave, we become free. We're just walking by. So daily we are resigning and we are free. See, when the pay comes, we can give some Lakshmi to Krishna, either for temple projects or for Krishna conscious programs. All this is resigning. Once there is resignation, then animitta nimittena becomes very natural. So the key point we must remember is how to come to this platform. That is by performing prescribed duties. Swadharmena, for the pleasure of the Lord. That is the point. See, the point, introspection is the way to Krishna. See, Brahmaji prays in Bhagavatam, let me have the introspection to create. Introspection means, my Guru Maharaj used to say, introspection means, let me look inward at my faults and not look outward at other people's faults. This is introspection. Means, let me look inward at my own faults and not look outward at other people's faults. So that is how he starts, Brahmaji starts. We always look to solve our problems outward. Brahmaji, he tried that for 100 celestial years and he failed. Right? He wanted to find out Where is the source of his birth, right? We tried 100 celestial years. We do not have 100 celestial years. We do not have the luxury to fail also. So what do we do on spiritual life? We have to do introspection. We have to look inward. So Brahmaji's penance came in the form of drisham, introspection. So Prabhupada writes that in the Bhagavad-gītā, Krishna says that to those who are constantly engaged in devotional service with love and affection, the Supreme Personality of God gives intelligence from within, and thus they make further progress. So Brahmaji, the first person to actually apply Bhagavad-gītā 10.10, one of the seed verses, right? So we do not look to other persons to become happy. If you start looking to person next to you to give happiness, then you're in a sorry state of affairs. It will never happen. Better look inward. Krishna is Artha Bandhu. He is a friend of the distressed. Only he can relieve the distress. So this is what Brahmaji is teaching us, that without being influenced by Krishna's transcendence and knowledge, which is revealed within, a devotee cannot make spiritual progress. Devotional service is not an external show. See, all the festivals in Krishna consciousness begin internally. They are all meant to understand our relationship with Krishna. And this involves introspection. So sign and design. So in the verse of Bhagavatam 3.9.23, Lord Brahma prays, the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is always the benefactor of the surrendered souls. His activities are always enacted through his internal potency, Rama, or the goddess of fortune. I pray only to engage in his service in the creation of the material world. And I pray that I not be materially affected by my works, for thus I may be able to give up the false prestige of being the creator. What a beautiful prayer. So here Brahmaji is praying that he may be able to give up the false prestige of being the creator. Otherwise, he will think, I am the one who is creating, right? So we should not have the false prestige that we are the yatra leaders. Without us, there will be no Jagannath. Without us, there will be no service. If we are not there, the whole center will collapse. This kind of thinking is very bad. That is why we are disturbed. So Brahmaji does not want this. The way to attain is to use all our waking time in the service of Krishna. The best way is to follow 5.10 Mahara. This words, Brahmani Adaya Karmani. Sangam Tyaktva Karotiya, Lipyate Nasa Papena, Padma Patram Vivamasa. So one who performs his duty without attachment, no, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, he is unaffected by sinful action. Just an example, as the lotus leaf is untouched by God. So here Krishna tells us the secret to be alive in this material world. He says the first thing we should do is Brahmani Adhaya Karmani. Surrender the results to the Supreme Lord. The only way to give up the false prestige is to look inward instead of looking outward. So one who looks inward, Krishna gives the knowledge by which he can come to him. That is why Brahmaji is praying in 3.22. See, we can only perform devotional service if every time we perform a service, we resign from it. Even bhakti becomes catchy when we do devotional service with a motive. When we expect things after doing devotional service, it binds us instead of liberating. We become distressed instead of becoming free. We fight because there is no adhaya. So Prabhupada translates adhaya as resigning. So we perform the service and we resign from the results of the work. That is a royal way. So when we do that, Sangam Tyaktva, we give up our attachment for fame, fortune, pride, adoration, and other results. If we get attached to the results, it catches us. We become disturbed. My Guru Maharaj used to say that in Sanskrit, there is a fine line between Sangam and Sangha. He says that Sangam means you touch without Krishna. Sangha means you touch without Krishna. And Sangha means you touch with Krishna. So one who resigns from the activities is not attached because he gets Sangha. He gives up the activities even while he performs them. Lipyate nasa papena. Then there is no material affection. Daily we start our day by signing the contract with our supreme employer Krishna. And at the end of the day, adhaya, we resign from the results. We do not wait for the results. We just move on. We are not touched. So that is how we should be. Every time we do the service and we resign. It is compared to Padma Patra Ivambasa, lotus flower untouched by water. So many things affect us, but they should not stay in our heart. Otherwise, where is the place for Krishna? Right? Now, in the 12th verse, he says, the steadily devoted soul attains unadulterated peace because he offers the results of all activities to me. Whereas a person who is not in union with the divine, who is greedy for the fruits of his labor, becomes entangled. See, in this world, we are not at peace with ourselves. What to speak of peace with our friends, relatives, and neighbors? See, all these are due to our entanglement in this material world. We have opened so many accounts in this material world. One for our wealth, one for our family, friends, relatives, one for our profession, and so on. Because we are always meditating on these accounts and do all we can to let it grow, we are not able to open an account for Krishna. That is why Srila Prabhupada insisted very particularly that we have to close all our material accounts and open spiritual accounts. So we should follow the footsteps of great personalities like Kṛṣṇa Maharaj and engage our mind and senses fully towards Krishna. In this way, we can get out of the material entanglement by closing all our material accounts. See, Maharaj Kṛṣṇa was invited by the demigods in the higher planets to fight demons. And as a king, he fought the battle to the full satisfaction of the demigods. Demigods being fully satisfied, they were very satisfied with him. So they wanted to give him some benediction for material enjoyment. But Maharaj Kṛṣṇa, being very much alert to his prime duty, he inquired from the demigods about his remaining duration of life. So he was informed by the demigods that his life would last only for a moment longer. The king did not wait him. At once he left the heavenly kingdom, which is always full of material enjoyment of the highest standard. And coming down to the earth, he took the ultimate shelter of the all-safe personality, Krishna. He was successful in his great attempt and he achieved liberation because he was successful because he was always alert to his prime duty. So in the purport of this verse, Prabhupada stresses that a fully responsible man should always be conscious of the prime duty of the present human form of life. Activities to meet the immediate necessities of material life are not everything. Please understand. Activities to meet the immediate necessities of material life are not everything. We have to do it. Our responsibilities are there. But our prime duty is to be fixed in our determination to serve Krishna under any circumstances. Serve Krishna under any circumstances. We have to do the service to Krishna without expecting the results. These are the very nice points, especially the 10, 11, and 12. So we have to have a contract with Krishna daily in the morning when we wake up. Do the duty, and at the end of the day, resign. Don't resign from the heart. You resign from that. Because resign means the results is in Krishna's hands. We don't expect any results. That is the way we have to live in this material world. That's the only way we can do. So this 5.10 verse we should follow in this. The verse which will tell us how to live in this material world. We should take this verse in total and be completely in devotional service, and thereby we can progress in our devotional service better and better. To stop here. Thank you very much, Prabhupada. Grantara Srimad Bhagavad-gītā ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. I go from the Hare Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Sri Ramachandra Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam. Thanks for the wonderful class.
Thank you.
It's very enlightening. Very good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Take care. Hare Krishna. Prabhu, I will be leaving, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Hare Krishna, all the devotees. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Mataji. Dandavat pranam. Thanks for joining this morning chanting and sloka recitation. As for the past few weeks, we have been hearing this Narasimha shlokas and prayers and glorification or knowing about some of the spiritual places related to Lord Narasimha, the pastimes related to Lord Narasimha. We'll continue with that. So we'll start with Narasimha Pranama, Narasimha Arti. So anybody would like to sing Narasimha Arti? Anybody who is familiar with or would like to try? Okay. So I'll start with Lord Narasimha Arti. नमस्ते नरसिंहाया प्रहलाद लाद दायिने हिरण्यकशिपूर्वक्षः शीलटङ्कानकालाय इतो नरसिंहा परतो नरसिंहो यतो यतो यामि ततो नरसिंहा पति नरसिंहो हृदये नरसिंहो नरसिंहमतिं शरणं प्रपदे तव करकमलवरे नाकाम् अद्भुत श्रृंगार दलिता हिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृंगा केशवद्विधा नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जयो नरसिंहादेव जयो नरसिंहादेव जयो नरसिंहादेव जयो नरसिंहादेव जयो प्रहलाद महाराज जयो प्रहलाद महाराज जयो प्रहलाद महाराज जयो प्रहलाद महाराज निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल। जय जय श्री नरसिंह देव भगवान की जय, भक्त प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। तो और बताइए भगवान की जय। हरे कृष्ण।